Charter schools and school vouchers are two of the most highly debated trends in American education by individual citizens, politicians, and educators alike. Though often treated as different issues, they can be considered a part of a very same trend: choice in education. Providing opportunities for choice is both highly supported and disregarded by many in America today. Through rationalization, it becomes clear that the current structure being utilized by those in favor of increased choice does not completely answer those concerns being risen over the possible negative consequences. Despite the plethora of arguments and examples on either side of providing choice to families in regard to their child's education, it becomes clear that two main sides have emerged. On the one hand, there are those that feel that choice in education will create competition and improve the current situation of public education, what we could label a capitalist model. On the other hand, there are those that feel choice and competition create unacceptable inequalities between socioeconomic and racial groups. This is what we will label the equality argument. Charter schools are institutions separate from mainstream public school systems, which operate on money that is received from the district they draw their students from. What many see as the benefit of charter schools is the removal from the often struggling, heavily bureaucratic, and unionized public schools. Many of those, including those in politics, expand the argument to assume that competition of new charter schools will encourage the districts losing students, the abandoned districts, to better allocate resources and institutions to their students. Another movement gaining support in education is school vouchers. With school vouchers, students' families are given a voucher coupon for the educational funds allotted to each student. The family can then use this to pay either the public or private district to educate their child. Those in favor argue that vouchers give families the choice of which school system they would like to educate their child in, and also, through competition, should improve the abandoned districts as they now have to compete to keep the child enrolled. For the argument that charter schools and voucher schools improve the opportunities of children to be true, those who leave would be going to better districts. However, in their study, Cohen et al. Found that many students who left public school districts were actually performing lower than their peers after only 1 year of public instruction. This study suggests that the apparent improvement in instruction is not always the case, and parental choice and placement for their student is not necessarily the determining factor in the best academic opportunity. A more comprehensive study performed by Stanford University examined 70% of all charter schools in 2009. The study found that only 17% of charter schools were performing better than traditional schools. 46% were about the same, and 37% were actually worse. Therefore, the argument that charter and voucher systems give students and their family the opportunity to have greater academic opportunities appears not to be clear or truthful. There appears to be limited evidence that competition actually will improve the quality of the abandoned districts. For example, the works of Winter with examining New York choice programs suggests that abandoned districts were overall unaffected by competition. Additionally, the argument of improvement is based upon a premise that schools will respond to the lack of investment. This argument is short-sighted in that these districts were often struggling because they lacked funds in the first place, thus further deepening the gap in the academic qualities for those students who remained in the abandoned districts. Sadly, there has been evidence that choice programs have actually increased instances of racial and socioeconomic segregation. Though their paper overwhelmingly was in support of choice, Hill and Lake's study admitted that charter schools, in an attempt to address many concerns of preferential placement of white and wealthy students, focused their enrollment on low socioeconomic groups and minorities. thus causing a situation of segregation where many schools have disproportionately minority students, creating the same exact issue, thus increasing segregation. Erickson's article further articulates the faults of segregation in charter schools by pointing out that though the segregation of individuals are a result of free choice, the schools, after all, are chosen by the parents, and charter schools are driven by their charters and are creatures of reality of their in-district schools, who often have the most disadvantaged or racially least diverse. In conclusion, it is essentially true that American schools need to improve, and that there is an inherent benefit to trying different techniques, strategies, and educational models. However, the current options for choice in their current form are not ethically responsible to support blindly. There is a responsibility to provide better academic opportunities and to improve the schools where our students currently attend. However, as articulated before, these consequences have not been proven, and the universal maxims that encourage these arguments have not been validated. Additionally, the negative impact of segregation is the only factor which has been proven accomplished by these policies of choice. Therefore, without clearly defined modifications to the current structure of school voucher or charter school programs, we cannot fully accept the continuation of this trend in education.